All right, this morning I'm gonna show y'all how I do a patch and paint. I'm on a move out right now and that's part of the job. So here's why I'm showing you this, so that you don't make the same mistakes I had to make and learn the hard way, the way I had to learn. One of the jobs you're gonna get on move outs is patch and paint, and you can't really see it from there, but this wall is full of holes and little nails and tacks and stuff. So what happens is you go to do one and you go through the whole house and you try to pull all the nails, you try to pull all the hardware, you try to get all the holes patched, and you try to get the touch-up paint done all over everything. You charge good money for it, but then before a new tenant moves in, the property manager shows up and walks the property, and they find, let's say out of a house that had 300 holes to fill, and I'm not exaggerating, it isn't uncommon to have hundreds. They find 3 that you missed. Now you got to go back and get those 3, and you can't really charge them for that because they already asked you to take care of that problem. You've already told them you took care of it, you've already invoiced, and you've already been paid. So now you got to go make a free trip, which could have been a $125 trip fee for some other job, which could have gotten your jobs done faster so you can invoice faster, so you can get more jobs, so you can grow. So I'm going to show you the process I've come up with. I can't remember the last time that I've had to go back to a patch and paint to do 1 or 2 little holes. And here's the process I have. So the first thing you do, and what I do is I like to walk in the front door and just start at the front door, put your hand on the left wall, and just follow all the walls all the way through the house, and eventually you end up back at the front door. And if you've got any interior middle walls, like say a partition between a kitchen, don't forget to do those. But what I do is I start at the door, pick left or right, I usually do left, and the first thing I do is I make my round around the entire house, and I carry 2 things, well, a few things with me. Number 1 is blue tape, number 2 is a set of pliers. I just use my Gerber because that's what I always have on me. And you're gonna need a Phillips screwdriver. You might need a flat tip screwdriver, but I have that on here and it's pretty rare that I need it, so I don't carry one of those. So here's the first thing you're gonna do after you start on one wall. You're just gonna go through and you're gonna pull all of the nails. You're gonna use your screwdriver and unscrew all the screws. If there's like drywall anchors in there, you're gonna get them removed, and you're just gonna make sure everything's removed. But here's what you do is you pull this nail, and then, now do it however you want. What I do is I put a piece of tape about 3 or 4 inches above the nail that I just pulled, so I know there's a hole there, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. So I go through and I put this tape all over the wall, just wherever there's a nail hole that I'm gonna need to repair. And a lot of times it's kind of neat, you'll see patterns because you'll see like 8 pieces of tape equally spaced on the same line, so you know somebody had like all their family photos there. So you put the tape on, and this is all you're doing at this point. You're just pulling things out of the wall and putting the tape on. Now you're also putting the tape, like right here, this is hilarious, but there's a piece of painter's tape under the paint here that's all crinkled up, so I'm going to remove that as well, and I'm going to put a piece of tape there. Any dents and stuff that you're going to need to fix, any scuffs, like, let's see if I can find one. Well, here we go, here's a few. So I've got a black scuff mark here, I've got a white chip out of the paint right here, and then once you've done that, now you've gotten all your hardware removed, and you've identified all your holes all the way around the house, as well as anything else that needs to be patched and painted, because the whole point of this is new tenants, when they move in, they're going to look around and they're going to mark anything that's wrong so that they don't have to pay for that when they move out. So your job is to make sure that there's nothing wrong, because then your property managers are going to find out you missed something. And we all miss stuff. It's not a big deal. It costs you money to have to go back and fix it for free. So we've done the whole house and we've got all the tape on. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to get, and this is my favorite product for this, except this is not the fast dry one, but it's made by DAP. It's the Alex Plus. This is paintable. However, this will shrink. So you can use this in small screw holes, not where there was a drywall anchor. Those holes are going to be too big. but you can use this for small screw holes, small nail holes, tack holes, stuff like that. It's also kind of useful if you have like little chips out of the paint, you can just put a little piece on. So the next thing I do is I go around the house with this, and I just come by, and what I do, actually, hold on, because this one's raised a little bit, and that's one of the reasons you have this. So any holes that are raised, you're going to take the butt end of this, and you're just going to push it in so that it sinks that down into the wall, and you don't have a raised spot sticking out. But you go through, and you just put a little dot on each one, like that, and then pretty much perpendicular to the wall, so you're not going down like this, you're going like this, and you just hit each of those just like that, all the way through the house. But while you're doing this, you're looking very closely for holes again, because I promise you missed a dozen of them, because I do this all the time and I still miss them. That's why I have this process. So now I'm going to go through the whole house, and I'm going to dap, and I'm going to scrape and dap and scrape and dap and scrape while I'm looking for new holes. And I have my tape on me, usually just in my pocket or hanging off my belt as well. So as I find the new holes, I put the tape up above them too. And now I've done 2 rounds of looking for hardware, looking for holes, making sure I haven't missed anything. Now all my little holes are finished. Now if I have any bigger holes, I usually use Easy Sand 5 or Easy Sand 20. That's the hot mud. I use hot mud typically for those. And I'll show you all this in another video, but what I do is I buy the sack of hot mud, and then the same day I buy it, so it doesn't get exposed to any more moisture in the atmosphere, same day I buy it, I put it all in Ziploc bags, and I've got all these little Ziploc bags with just enough. So for example, on a patch and paint, I'm going to use the Easy Sand 5 for bigger holes because I'm going to need it to set up faster, but I'm going to use the Easy Sand 20 for anything that's, let's say, smaller than a nickel, maybe nickel sized, and even that's kind of a stretch, but I don't usually have a lot of those, and I bill for those differently. In fact, bigger, like quarter sized holes and above, that's a patch that I'm going to charge separately for rather than part of an all-encompassing patch and paint, which is for the little holes. So now we've gone around and we've, number one, we've pulled everything, we've put the tape on. Second round, same thing. Put your hand on the left wall and just go all the way around. Second thing is we're going to go back. We're looking for more holes, and we're putting the dap in it. Third round, you're going to go around and you're going to do all the bigger holes that you need to use your hot mud with. And you're going to get all of them filled. And while you're doing that, guess what? Yes, you're still looking. You need to look above windowsills for cracks where the trim is around the window. Just look very thoroughly, make sure you get all of them, and again, you're going to put new tape on every time you find anything new, and you're going to get all them big ones filled. And then finally, at the end, while you've got all your tape on the wall, you haven't removed any of your tape, you've gotten all the holes patched, and you've definitely found every hole that you're going to have to deal with. Once you've done that, then you take your camera and you go all through the house from every corner of every room, and you take pictures of everything from every angle. Now what this does is, see, if I send this picture to a property manager without tape on the wall as a before picture for the patch and paint, they can't tell. You can't see any of this from this angle with the camera. You're not going to see that there are 200 little holes in this house. But now that I've put the tape on, I can show the property managers how many holes were in the walls, because one of the things they're going to do, and if you're charging $100 an hour, you know, $100 an hour for plumbing is low, for electrical is low, for a lot of things $100 an hour is low. But for $100 an hour just to do simple patch and paint, a lot of times they don't like that and they think it's too expensive, because they feel like, and I don't know if they do this on purpose, I really don't, but it seems like every move out I get my property managers tell me that there are just a few holes, like just a few small holes through the house. And it's almost as if what they're trying to say is, hey, not a big deal, you're not going to charge me much for this, super easy, it's only going to take 5 minutes, and they expect to see some sort of low bill for it. So the purpose of this with the blue tape and making sure you're thorough is you need your property managers. They can't see the holes, and that's fine. If they want to argue and try to claim that you put tape up where there was no hole just to fool them, they don't trust you, and I don't know why. There may be a reason, there may not be a reason, but y'all don't have a good relationship yet. So now you've taken all of your pictures all the way around the house, and now the reason that the tape is 3 or 4 inches above the hole is because you need to come back and you need to paint everything. So you get your matching paint and you just start coming through and you start painting over all of these. Now, if y'all don't know feathering, let's say you don't know feathering, you're gonna come and you're gonna paint over this little hole, and it doesn't matter how good your patch is, if that's all you do is just put 2 square inches of paint on the wall in one spot in a little blob, those are all gonna stand out to the tenants when they move in. It's gonna look like something's wrong. So what you do, and there's a reason this tape is a few inches away, is when you paint, you're not just painting this, you're gonna feather outwards from that. And it doesn't take long. I know it sounds like it would take a lot longer. Once you get fast at it, it doesn't. So what I'll do, pretend this is my paintbrush, I go through with a little paint on the tip of the brush, and I just touch each hole. I just dab each of the holes because it's gonna go a long ways. And then I go back and start just very quickly, just getting the feathering done all the way around, and your hole is not next to the tape, so you don't have to worry they're gonna paint over the tape and have that clean straight line there. So you go through the whole house, you paint everything, and then you go through the whole house last time, and you just start pulling all of your tape off the wall. And now your wall's done. You've documented how many holes there are, where the holes are. If the prior tenant tries to say that we didn't have that many holes in the wall, again, you've got some evidence to show that you did in fact have this many areas that needed to be repaired. So that's how I do these. I'm about to go through this entire house. It's probably, on this house I've already looked through, it's probably gonna be 2 to 3 hours, so it's gonna be $200 to $300 extra on that invoice for the patch and paint. But if anybody complains, like I said, I've got all of my pieces of tape and all of my pictures, so I can literally, if I had to, go through and count them and say, hey, you had 432 individual little spots that I had to fix. So this is how we do our patch and paint, and this is how anybody who works for me also is taught to do the patch and paint, and they have to send me the pictures with all the tape. So we've got a process, and we don't have to worry about, number one, missing holes, because there's no excuse. If you've gone through the house 5 times, it should be damn near impossible to find a hole you missed. So there's no missed holes. It's a very thorough job, and it's a job where you've documented thoroughly for the property manager exactly what you did and why you had to charge what you charge. So there's one job down, patch and paint. It's going to be bread and butter kind of work. You're going to do so much of it that it's just, you're going to be sick of it. So if y'all have any questions on this, if you have any suggestions, if you do it a different way that you think might improve on my way, please do let me know. I'm never turned off to the fact that I learn shit every day from y'all on this channel, from a lot of your comments. I've tried a lot of new things that y'all have commented, so let me know what you think. Let me know if you've done something similar to this or if you've got a better way you do it, and y'all have yourselves a good day.